Most music producers can make a cool loop, but when it comes to arrangement, you feel stuck. The loop sounds great, but how do I make an intro? Where does the drop go? And why does arrangement feel so random? So for example, I have this reference track which sounds like this, and I created my idea based on that.
Everybody from the front to the back now. Front to the back.
And this is my idea, which is very close to the reference, which I love.
Everybody from the front to the back now. Front to the back.
So even with the good loops like this one, arrangement can still be challenging. You may not know what to do next. So in this video, I'm going to teach you a simple framework that eliminates all the guesswork so that you can arrange your tracks a lot faster and easier. By the end of this video, you will learn a step-by-step system to arrange tracks from an idea to a full track without endless tweaking and overthinking. Let's dive in. So this is the plan for this video and how the system works. Number one, you're gonna learn how to use reference tracks to structure your music. Number two, you're gonna learn a simple system to arrange full tracks without overthinking. Number three, the one groove rule and how to make track ideas that actually work. And number four, how to create track ideas fast so you never get stuck in an 8-bar loop again. All right, step number one, use reference tracks. We want to use references to build structure and create ideas, not to copy exactly. Allow yourself to be creative and change the vibe of the track as you want and when you want. Let me give an example. Right now, I'm gonna first pick the reference tracks and then start producing. So you go to Spotify, Beatport, YouTube Music, listen to some stuff and pick the one that you like and that is similar to the style of music that you want to produce, or if you want to try something new, like whatever. The main point is to get the reference first. And the funny thing is, when you stop trying to be original, this is when you become more original. Because when I use references, it just gives me such a good like inspiration starting point in terms of ideas, in terms of sound design, structure, and everything, right? So we take one reference as the main idea. Then we want to analyze the core elements. So how does the kick bass sound, drums, leads, and so on and so on. After that, we want to create idea for the track based on these core elements. I'm gonna show you example in Ableton. So here is the reference that I wanted to recreate or take inspiration from. Percussive, Latin, tribal, tech house. I really like it. It's simple. It's cool.
Everybody from the front to the back now. Front to the back.
So that was the main idea. And again, you need to analyze what elements make up this core idea. So is the main idea of the track the kick and bass? Is it lead? Like, what is it? I have a full sound selection video where I talk in details about that, how to analyze, how to pick sounds. Check it out here. And this is the idea that I have created based on the reference, which is very similar. I was able to copy the main vibe and then I went in my own direction, and you're gonna hear that it's a little bit different, but it's really cool. I like my idea actually even more than the reference.
Move your ass. Everybody from the front to the back now. Front to the back. Your ass.
Right, it's cool. Sounds pretty much exactly as the reference. So let's finish with the step number one. After you have the foundational elements for the track, feel free to go in other directions. So I started with the kick and the bass. I was trying to recreate it. Then I was trying to copy the drums, and I did something a little bit different. It's the main idea that I used a lot of live percussion, but in the reference, it was more like Latin. I'm using Middle Eastern percussion, right? So it's like you can instantly be more creative, and like this is when you can be more original. Even though that we are copying, still every decision you can make a bit different, and this is what's going to give you the originality. it's a little bit more minimal. And the same for the synths and every other element. You can see it's pretty cool, right? I would also recommend to take 1 or 2 more references for more ideas, because sometimes I like the arrangement of one track, but I don't like the mixing or I don't like the sound design. So it is useful to have 1 or 2 more additional tracks for more inspiration. And before you start making the full track, all right, so we just want to focus on this section. This works because, again, you have a clear vision and the idea of the track that you want to make in your mind. You get rid of the creative blocks and second guessing because you have everything in front of you. You'll know exact steps to make your track, right? So what sounds to make, the arrangement, structure, mixing, and so on. And you will save yourself hours or even days when working on music. And this is such a common thing on client calls. So when I work with my clients, they send me the project, I open the project, and they tell me like, Vlad, I'm struggling with arrangement. I don't know what to do next. I don't know what sounds to add, when to add them. And I'm looking at the reference. I'm like, excuse me, I'm looking at the project. I'm like, where's the reference? So no shit, you're struggling because you're blinded. Like you are not too narrow-minded trying to create something unique out of thin air. Everyone references. If you look at professional producers, they all use reference tracks, like for mixing, for everything. And that's in any industry. So why would you make the process more complicated for yourself? Like I was doing that, I was struggling with arrangement. I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not creating the track from scratch without the reference. And now like it's easy. I can arrange a full track very quickly, very easily. So that's the key takeaway. By the way, if you want to work with me, the link to my coaching program is in the comments below if you want to check it out, if you need help with your music, right? So super important thing. The next step is to actually start arranging or creating the idea. And I like to think about it like arranging a track like a DJ set. So after you pick the reference track, what we want to do is we want to take the track and we want to break it down visually and color code visually. So we have the intro, first drop, then the build, another drop, another build, another drop. So you can see I use different colors just to make it easier for myself to see like what is happening visually. You can expand it, you can fold it, whatever you like, okay? And this thing, again, gives you the exact steps that you need to take with your track to go from scratch, from the loop, which is most likely going to be like 8 to 16 bars. We'll talk about the length just in a minute. Then you will know, okay, so here's my final drop, here's the intro, here's this, here's that. And just make the process easier as you have like a proven template, a proven structure. And the good thing about references, if you copy their structure, it will work in the club because they are playing the tracks in the club. These tracks usually get a good amount of streams on Spotify, DJs play them, and so on and so on. So again, we're just using the tools to make it easier. So the next step that I would suggest is to extract the vocal from the original song to arrange it easier and faster. Because every time when I have a vocal in my track, whether that would be a vocal from Splice, maybe a vocal from the reference, doesn't really matter. Just because it has the structure you can see here, this is the break, this is another drop. Plus, vocal is a very catchy element that grabs a lot of attention. So I like it.
Move your ass. Everybody from the front to the back now. Front to the back.
So now I don't even need to add light if I don't want to. If you want to, sure, that's cool. So again, another life-changing tip that I use right now when producing music. So then we want to loop the main drop of the song and start creating your idea from here. So I spoke about that. Again, all you have to do is you take the main drop and you start step by step. So I usually start with the kick and the bass, then the drums, the synths, and you go and you create the loop that sounds good, because even without the vocal, this is super catchy. It's already like, on point. it's groovy, everything is cool. The next thing, which is very, very important, you want to think of the arrangement like a DJ set, right? So the energy needs to rise and fall to keep people engaged. So you want to pay attention to, when do drums drop out to build tension? When do leads enter to lift the energy? How do they use silence for impact, right? So I'm not going to go and analyze this track because like you have to do it yourself. But I'm just giving you this main idea, and this is why color coding is very important, right? So we take this section. This one is a very minimal one. Plus, he filtered the kick and the bass. And then if you go and you listen to a different section, let's say like this is drop full plus leads. Dun, 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 dun. So he is introducing a bit more vocals, and you can in your mind think, okay, so what does it give to my track in terms of the energy, in terms of the vibe? How does it change everything? And then, okay, this is an interesting one. So this is bridge to break. He's transitioning to the break without the drums. To again, the energy goes a little bit down. Some more effects, some more elements. So if you do it, you analyze everything, you outline everything that you need to do in the arrangement. Yeah, you'll have a step-by-step plan. And one quick thing about the breaks and the build-ups, honestly, I don't like to make the breaks and build-ups in the beginning. So I would usually do like this. So we have the reference, I have outlined everything, I have created the idea, and after I have, let's pretend that there's nothing happening here, after I have created this, then I would go and I would copy paste under the actual sections of the arrangement, like how I want my track to sound. So copying the energy, copying the idea. But then again, it doesn't mean that you have to copy 100%. We could like as easily just take the concept, like the energy, the idea, and make it a little bit different. And again, just be creative. Don't limit yourself. Don't put yourself in the box, because every time I try to replicate, I try to copy, this is when like I get pissed because it never sounds as the reference. I want it to sound as myself, right? And the reason why this works is it removes indecision. You don't need to guess where elements go. And also, DJ mindset, instantly more club-ready arrangement, because we are copying the stuff that was tested in a club, which is really, really cool. Okay, now, this is one of the main things that you need to focus on, the one groove rule. Before arranging, make sure your loop is solid. A great track starts with one groove that instantly feels good. So this is how you can test your idea before arranging. Loop your kick and bass for a minute, 30 seconds, like how much you want. If it doesn't sound good alone, fix it. So if we do this thing to this track, so we can loop it. Let's go here. And let me put real phones, and we're going to test this a little bit on different systems so you can get the vibe of the song, right? Let's go here. So it's groovy, it's already good without any like additional mixing. Of course, I put something on the kick, on the bass, a little bit on the master, but again, it doesn't change the main thing. This is a good groove. It makes me want to move. Then we want to do the same thing for the drums. So when I combine my kick, my bass, and my drums, do they work together? Do they create one like synchronicity, one loop, one groove? And I have a very good video about the groove, the concept of groove. You can check it out like here or here. I'm gonna put a link. So let's analyze the drums a little bit more. So one of the core ideas that I used here is the drums. I think the percussion. It supports the groove of the bass. Check it out. Because these percussion shots or hits, they go at the same time with the tom. So basically they are reinforcing each other, and they are like we are stacking elements on top of each other, but this one is high percussion. It is not low, so because of that, it doesn't conflict. If I would have like very low percussion, it would not work. So because we have those multiple elements now, like it is adding more tension, more energy, just more interesting. Check out without. It's really good. But if I change the placement of my loop, I might just kill the groove. For example, if we... Like, okay, it's not bad, but it's not quite... It's a different groove that I'm introducing. So pay attention to every single element in your track. Because if you start introducing more grooves, more variation, more complexity, quite often you're just gonna ruin the track. So keep it simple. If you listen to my drums, they're also super simple. Plus, I do have this this little accent. Check it out. This is. This hit, this percussion, has the same key as the track. So technically, I'm using that as one of the bass layers, right? So yeah, add drums and groove elements if it makes you want to move. That's awesome. And only move forward once your core loop and elements sound great. I don't want it to sound okay. I want your loops to sound great, because if it doesn't sound great, you're just gonna be polishing shit. You're gonna be polishing a shitty idea. And so many times, like, I would do it myself, like, even with some clients, you know, it happens that you're just putting time and effort into something that is just not good. So the idea that I have here, this is like a club-ready track. I could see this track, it could be like on Beatport charts. Let's say, like, if we skip the promo, right? If it was released on a good label. Like, it's good. The synths are supporting the groove, same with the vocals. Everything is just glued together. This is really important.
Everybody from the front to the back now. Front to the back. Your ass.
And all I have is just about like 20-25 tracks, something like that, considering that some of the tracks are just layers, and I have quite a lot of bass elements. So like the bass elements is just like 12. Right? So the rest is like so simple. If you cannot achieve good groove with minimal amount of elements, means that you're doing something wrong. Like either your kick and bass is not on point, the drums or something. So get good sound with basics, arrange the track, and if you need, then you can add more layers. But usually something is wrong if you're trying to add too much. Right? Okay. And why this works and this is why this stuff works. It forces you to fix weak ideas before arrangement, because I don't want you to waste your time on shitty ideas, because you're gonna get frustrated, you're not gonna finish your music, and it's just not productive, right? Especially if you have a business, like if your time is valuable, we want to make sure that we are productive in our music sessions. And it also helps you finish tracks faster by locking in a solid foundation. This is the core, really. I would rather spend more time on creating the good idea than trying to arrange it or add like bells and whistles, right? So, okay, and step 4, how do you actually create ideas? Because it would be a bit stupid from my end to give you this and not tell you how to create ideas. So speed matters. Don't overcomplicate your track idea. Use Splice for finding loops that will fit the vibe of the song. So we can use Splice pretty much for every single element. I personally like having my own bass lines, but to make the process more efficient, you can just literally take like 1, 2, 3 splice loop, one as the main bass line, and then something that you layer. But if you want to be more efficient, like even more, and you don't like to, like in the beginning, to spend time sound designing your bass line, then feel free to use a loop for the bass, because you can create an idea and then just replace it with a custom one. But I usually start with creating my own bass lines. So if we go here, I created it myself because it's really easy for me, right? So just focus on what you are good at. If creating bass lines is challenging, but you want to practice idea creation, you want to practice arrangement, then just go take some loops, not a problem. And then I was adding some layers, and this is what I have got. It's easy for me, so I don't usually use loops. Plus, I actually really like sound designing my on bass lines. So what's the key idea with this step is you don't want to sound design everything from scratch. Just find loops that match the idea. This is what I did for the synths. Sure, I could have found in my library of presets something that sounds almost exactly like this one, but why would I do that if I can just go to Splice for the the beginning stages of the track production? Just take this, because it takes me like 2-3 minutes. Then you can see how much groove I already have. And if I want, I can replace it, or I can process it so it doesn't sound like just a loop from Splice, because that's not cool. If you just use loops from Splice as they are, like, I'm sorry, you're just not putting the right amount of effort into your music. And same thing here. I just wanted to have very similar sounds like in the reference. So for example, if you listen to the second one, I took everything from Splice. I love the sound. I would spend a lot of time trying to recreate it, then find the right MIDI, then process it. So yeah, Splice is the way to go. So I just use it for inspiration, not as the final thing. Like, I would probably not use Splice for producing the whole track, but for loops, sure, why not? Especially for the drums, for the synths. And then another one. Just imagine how much time I would spend doing that. So depending on what you need for the track, use Splice. And the next thing, even if a loop fits like on 7 out of 10, just use it as a placeholder. And this is one of the problems that I see so many producers have, including myself in the past. You try to make shit perfect, but you just need to move forward. You just need to create something. Like, if you can see through the idea, okay, maybe the sound selection is like, okay, 7 out of 10. Like, fuck, okay, 6 out of 10, 6.5. But the actual idea is good. It's gonna be okay for you to start arranging a little bit, like at least doing the outline here, right? But if the idea is shit, but the sound selection is good, well, I mean, it's still gonna be shit. So I would focus on the idea, because the sound selection is always easier to fix. I'm not saying that you should not spend time on selecting the right sounds, but just make sure that you're not trying to be perfect. Like, it has to be good enough. So after we found the loops, we got the groove, I would recommend to make the track idea first, right? Which is this. So we are not arranging, we are just doing this one thing. You want to make sure that it is 16 bars, because one of the problems, again, like I see with my clients, including myself in the past, if you make a loop which is very short like this, just imagine how many times you need to go and you need to duplicate, you need to copy. So it's already like, I'm copying this 4 times and it's already repetitive. However, if I do the loop 16 bars, it's 30 seconds of unique track. And if I duplicate it like one more time, and then maybe I make different drums, this is already 1 minute, right? You see how important it is to create longer loops, and I have a full video about that, about this exact technique. It's gonna be like on the left, on the right, I don't know. I'll put the link here. So just spend more time on developing the right idea, right? Then after we do that, we do the rough arrangement, as I said in the beginning of the video. So you want to put rough outline. Do not go too much into the details, just copy the elements. Okay, here we have the synths, here we don't have the synths, here we don't have the vocals, here we have the vocals, right? So do the outline. And after that, you can swap loops with custom sounds if that's needed. And I quite often do that, because making the arrangement is the number one priority, because we want to go like this, right? So from left to right, we want to finish the track. We don't want to like go vertically, right? Because the more sounds you add, it doesn't make you finish the track. It's just not very logical with this. So why this technique works is because it avoids the perfect sounds trap that slows down creativity, and it helps you to arrange quickly before getting lost in details. So to summarize everything, you create the idea, you make sure that it's like as good as you can do it. Do not try to be perfect, just pick the right sounds. Then you do the rough arrangement of the track as much as you can. Let's say then we do the break and everything. And after you did the full arrangement, so intro, break, drops, this is when you can start messing with micro details, with transitions. Again, I think a lot of times music producers, you cannot prioritize, or like you do not prioritize things that are important. You get too caught up with transitions, with ear candy, but in reality you should just focus on idea creation, a rough arrangement, the full arrangement, and then you go and you add the micro details and all that shit that's like, it's important but it doesn't matter as much, right? So if you use this strategy and if you follow all the tips that I gave you in this video, I can absolutely guarantee you will not struggle with arrangement. And if you're still watching this video, if you got value from this video and you want to take your music production skills to the next level, find your signature sound, make more music, start releasing on record labels, maybe start DJing, whatever, right? And you want to do it faster, you want to do it more efficient, click the link in the comments, book a call. I would love to have a chat and see if I can help you. So thank you for watching, my friend. I'll see you in the next video.